Another Monday here. Another tough loss to a really good football team. As I told our kids last night, I think Miami could have beat really anybody that night. They played really, really good, and we didn't play as good as we need to against a good football team. You can't make mistakes against a team that's on fire, and win it. But there's a lot of good things when you look at the tape. There's a lot of positives to bring from the tape that you saw, and just not enough of them. And with that, you got another great football team. And I know you guys talked a lot about it preseason, about the schedule we had, we've lost some close games. And a year ago, we were able to win some of those close games. And this year, we're not winning some of those close games. But with Clemson, next on the schedule here, our kids get an opportunity to go on the road, play in a hostile environment against a really, really good football team that's ranked 2 or 3 in the country, wherever you guys have them, maybe number 1 in the country in some rankings. But a great football team that's won a lot of games, that knows how to win close games. They've been in some battles. They haven't blown everybody out. They've blown out half their teams, and they've been battles with the other games. But Dabo does a great job coaching. They got a great coaching staff on both sides of the ball. They got athletes like we faced the last couple weekends, and it's obviously a challenge for us. So with that, I'll open it up for questions.
Yeah, just to close the book on the Miami game, a couple of things. Do you think you could have run the ball more? And the other thing is, do you think you maybe did half the time on third down in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, I mean, you could do that, but when you're punting 5 times in the second half or 6 times in the second half, I don't want to put our defense in another tough situation. You wish you'd go 3 and out, not miss a tackle, and we don't do that. So you can always second-guess yourself, should you punt or not. I don't have any regrets about that at all, based on the way we were moving the football. And, I had no regrets there about that. And your first question was?
Do you think you ran it overall? I think you had the running.
When you get behind, I think you did. You don't hit on some plays. You don't block them all the time, and you miss some things. You miss some reads with your running backs, and you miss some blocks, and all of a sudden, you certainly love to run it all. And again, we talked in the second half about we can't get into a passing game against these guys, so we did still try to mix in the runs and not just get into a 2-minute situation with 8 minutes left to go in the game. So that's what we do, is run the ball, and at times we didn't do it well enough.
Before the season started, you mentioned how you thought the knowledge on defense might lead to more explosive plays on defense, turnovers. What do you think's contributed to, the lack of turnovers on?
Yeah, last couple of weeks we haven't been able to get any, and we dropped one a week ago. I think T. Webb had an opportunity to catch one in the end zone, so you got to make plays when you can. One hits Maddox, I believe, in the hands last week. People haven't put it on the ground. Is that attributed to we're not hitting them hard enough, or they got good ball security, one or the other. But we've got to get them. We talked about that. It's turnovers are a 2-way street. You can see how critical they are when you lose them. It's going to help you lose the game, and it's how critical when you don't get some. So anytime we talk as a team, it's, hey, you can't turn it over here. We got to get more. Let's balance it out and get 2. Sometimes that comes with luck. I hate to say it. Sometimes you're lucky, and as far as getting them, and then sometimes you got to make a play.
Just to harp on the punting at the end of the fourth quarter one more time, what kind of message do you think that sends your team? Like, when you're down 2 touchdowns, 16 points, and you punt it away with 3 minutes left without really a chance to get the ball back? Does that send a message that you're just?
Well, you hope we had 3 timeouts left. Okay, you had 3 timeouts left. Now, if you don't want to punt the ball when you're on their own 20-yard line, I don't even know what yard line we are. We're inside our own 20. If you go for it and you don't get it, and you had 3 downs already to get 10 yards and you don't get it, you might as well just grab a knife and stick it in you right then and start twisting it and pull it out, in my opinion. That's how I feel about it. I got faith in our defense. I think when they were going to get the ball back, they ran it 3 straight times. We got 3 timeouts. We can stop the clock on offense by going, by running the ball out of bounds. We can stop it on defense with timeouts. We used 2 of them. It was everything perfect. They ran the ball 3 times like we wanted to. We had a chance to make a play in the backfield on 3rd and 3, call another timeout, and we get what we want. And maybe Quadri takes one to the house, and then you kick an onside kick, and you're good. Now, if I'd have known they were going to score, like the armchair quarterback guys, if I knew they were going to score, then I would have said, shoot, might as well just have an 18-yard run instead of a 55-yard run. But you don't know that. And, I believed that if they got the ball, if they ran the ball 3 straight times, if we didn't have 3 timeouts, a whole different story. So I think you got to you got to judge that. And, again, it's easy after the game to sit in that chair and say, well, why didn't you, I don't think, you can ask, what the offensive guys thought, but, you got to be smart. And it's team football. It's not just about one side.
That being said, Pat, I mean, the defense has had its struggles this year. Getting stops in crucial situations.
Yeah.
Late. I mean, in that situation, I mean, I guess in a way, you sending the message that despite what the evidence says in terms of stopping the ball,
Well, we've been a good run defense. We've been a good run defense. I mean, you got to be in the top 20 in run defense. So, have we been a great pass defense? No. But we've been a great run defense, and I thought we could stop them. We didn't the week before. Thought we'd learn. And again, it looked pretty good for 2 downs, and 3 downs it didn't. But you can say the same thing about getting a first down. I mean, you can't always have 4 downs to get a first down. And, you can say the same thing. So, any other questions on punting or going forward on 4th down and 10?
The missed tackles and obviously some of their success running the ball, was that a particular point of frustration for you when you went back and watched the film?
Yeah, I mean, they had 2 big runs on, and 2 big runs, and they're all missed tackles. I mean, one time they chopped Tyreek and Soto down, but Mike Caprera's right there to make a play, and we miss it. And again, give that guy credit. He's an athlete. He's made people miss all year, but we're there. And but we gave up 2 big runs, which they'd have under 100 yards rushing if you stop those 2 big runs. And one of them was obviously at the end of the game when we're talking about our 3rd down stop. We're getting ready to call another timeout, and about 35 seconds might have run off the clock in those 2 series. But it was nice that we had our 3 timeouts, and I think that's critical. But those 2 runs, that'll drive you nuts.
Speaking of Soto and Tyreek getting taken out on the same play, what do you think of the backups like Watt and Tellini coming in?
Jeremiah Tellini, first of all, did a heck of a job. I mean, he was impressive, and they played great leverage, he's got a chance to start next week. I mean, he played with a flat back. He penetrated. He made made plays in a pass game. Got I think a hurry or at least a hit on the quarterback in a pass, which we haven't got a lot of that inside. So I really liked the way he played, leverage wise. And Amir Watts, like I told you the week before, I was upset that he didn't play, and he obviously got his opportunity. I thought he did some good things. He popped out of the gap a couple times late, like freshmen do. When you get doubled, Jerry, don't spin out of it. When you get a double team, 2 guys block you, if you do this, it's probably not a good thing. He did that a couple times, but that's a freshman mistake. But that's why he needs to get reps and continue to play. But I was happy with Amir and Jeremiah Tellini. I think Herndon got a few snaps in there as well. So it was good to see those young guys.
The young guys you might be thinking about playing in the last 3 games?
Like
Guys who haven't played yet?
No, not unless we have to. Not unless we have to.
But Brightwell played a little bit more than he played the other game.
Yeah, I mean, Brightwell started, I think, against Oklahoma State, and we want to get him in there, and we think he's got a lot of ability, and we've been wanting to get him in there. It all depends on the game plan and what someone's doing offensively. We know there's some puppy mistakes he'll make, being a redshirt freshman. That we try to put guys in based on what they can do, what they do well. Miami was a good team that he could play against and be in the right spot most of the time. And in a year, he'll be totally different. He'll be able to play every game, I think. But he's still learning. There's some times in practice the ball's going that way and he's running that way. Okay, we got to make sure that doesn't happen on game day. And if that's going to happen, he can't be in the game. But Salim, when he's played and we've put him in the position to be successful, has done a nice job for us as well. So he'll continue to play.
Your depth chart, you have a lot of oars on defense. Is that too much uncertainty for week 11, going to week 11?
I just think there's, we're competing every week, and I think, there's some guys banged up, and there's some guys, that got to practice well to continue to keep their position. And I think that's what it's not because I'm trying to mess with your mind or your sheet of paper. It's just because it's where it is right now at this point. We're going to find out who practices best. And again, it has to do with how healthy a guy is, and Juan Price is not slashed on there because he feels good. Okay, he's back there ready to go. But it's all based on what we've seen so far. But that doesn't mean the guys know. The guys know who will be ready to go and who won't.
A lot of players that can be replaced just by saying next man up and stuff, but there's not really guys with the size of Tyreek, Garrett. So do you feel confident in the backups? I know they thought they played well, but to really plug up that hole as the nose tackle, or do you have to shift how the defensive line plays it all without?
We'll make some little adjustments, but Tyreek's been a beast in there, and he's also gotten worn down. It's a long season for him, and I don't think particularly, I really don't feel bad about those guys going in. Like I said, Tellini, he can play against anybody. If he can play against Miami's O-line, I think he can play against anybody. So, Amir Watts is a good football player. I've seen him get off the ball. He's got about as good a takeoff. You listen to Brian O'Neill ask those guys, he can get off the ball, and he's got a ton of talent. So he's only going to get better. But, it is the next man up philosophy. But I've got no, if it was a different situation in it right now, I mean, Jeremiah's come a long way from preseason camp. And if those two guys weren't there, then I'd feel like, oh boy, what are we going to do? Brian O'Neill will be probably playing some 3 technique instead of catching touchdown passes.
You've had a lot of talented quarterbacks you faced these last few weeks, and now you have another one coming up in Watson. What kind of challenges does he present to you guys? He's special, obviously, and I don't know if he's still up for the Heisman or how politics go there, but he's a great football player. They're undefeated. He leads their offense. Deshaun is not only an excellent thrower, he's got a strong arm, throws darts, but he's got the run threat, which Akaya really didn't, even though he scrambled on some third down passes to gain a few yards last week. This guy's a threat on every down to beat you with his arm and beat with his feet, and that's going to change some things for you on defense. So they got 11 monsters out there, and we got to line up with our best 11 monsters and go after them.
You didn't play them last year. Did you watch any film of them from last year? Did they look any different this time around?
They're very talented. I mean, you look at Christian Wilkins, one of the defensive end, is a great football player. They got a true freshman D tackle, and Dexter Lawrence, who is a true freshman, might be the best player they have on defense. I mean, they got some guys. I talked to a D-line coach in the conference that said, gosh, their second D-line looks better than our first D-line in the ACC. He's like, so they've got some guys up front, but so did the guys last week, and so did the guys the week before that. So, it'll be a challenge to block them, but I think our guys like challenges.
You guys had been starting fast for most of the season. The last 2 weeks, slow starts. Any constant you kind of found in watching the film in those 2 games, or?
No, I mean, maybe a little bit bad luck, a little bit of misexecution, but we just got to go out and play our game and do what we know how to do, and there's nothing you can do about that. Got to make plays.
Does Matt have some familiarity with his defense?
He does. He's played against Venerables before, and has been okay with him. So it'll be a chess match for sure.
Demar played a lot in team. What was your evaluation of him?
I think as a true freshman, I thought he played pretty good. Could play with better technique, as always, like every one of our players could on offense and defense and special teams. But, it's a true freshman going in there against the skilled receivers and Coley and Richards they had. You can't be disappointed. I mean, he's thrown in the fire there as a young guy, and I think he stepped up and played with an attitude too, which was good. He had a little dog in him a little bit.
With him and Watts, freshmen who haven't played a lot, saw more reps on Saturday than they've seen all season. Did you see them get better as the game went on? Did they get more comfortable and kind of get used to the situation?
Yeah, I think so. And again, defensive line's a little bit different than DB, so you see a little bit more. But I think Amir certainly got better, and I think DeMar stayed about the same the whole time. It's a little harder. I mean, you can see, when you're making contact every down with somebody as a D tackle, it's 2 different positions to look at. But Amir did get comfortable out there, which was good. And I think DeMar was, solid all day based on what he did out there.
I know you don't pay much attention to the rankings, but obviously you mentioned, that this is a top 3 team, the highest ranked team that you faced as a head coach. Does that excite you to, even after these past 2 losses, have a chance to really go and get a signature win this year?
No doubt about it. I mean, I think anytime you get to go play with the top teams in the country, you can go in and play the spoiler and go make something happen on national TV. I think that's that's what players play for. I think that's what coaches coach for. I think that's what you want. If we were going to play the 128th team in the country, we would, and you guys said the same thing. Like, how do you go up against Villanova in the opener and compare it to Clemson? I mean, there's complete opposites. They got to be ready regardless, and you hope they play the same against Villanova as they play against Clemson. But I would hope we're going to get the best ball out of our guys.
It's listed right here. The last time Pitt had a game against the top 2 team that they won was 9 years ago against West Virginia. That was also coming off a disappointing loss. Have you used that game at all yet as motivation for these guys?
No, I mean, you guys can put it in the papers if you want to. I don't know. I don't think it has. What happened back then really doesn't matter what's happening now and who we are. But I think our guys know on any given Saturday, if you play the best you can play, okay, and you play lights out, you can beat anybody. That's a fact. I mean, you can go look at all the numbers. I mean, that's what we saw. It's not what happened back in 1978 or 76 or 09. It's what happens, this Saturday. And we just got to play the best football we can on Saturday. Nothing else matters.
And is it a test of maturity, though? You mentioned the word spoiler. That's not something I'm sure you guys wanted to talk about going into the middle of November. I mean, is it with the preseason goals sort of maybe out of reach at this point? I mean, is it you guys have to sort of refocus, and is it a test of the leadership?
Of course you do.
Get the guys ready.
It's always a test as a coach. That's what we coach for. But that's where we are, and you refocus your goals every day. I mean, every day we come out, our kids got goal sheets. They fill out personal goals. And I think as the season goes on and you're winning or losing, you have to adjust your goals. I mean, to sit here and say, hey, guys, we still have a chance to be ACC champs, I'd look like I won't even say it here, but we refocus our goals.
And how do you, look at the big picture, how do you compete with a program like Clemson that, not just on the field, but in the national championship game last year, maybe again this year, the people gravitate to them, recruits gravitate to them. How do you compete as a program?
Little by little. I mean, if you think you're going to, I could maybe see if we can go to your bank account and see if we can get some extra money and start buying players. But if we did that, it'd probably be the wrong way. But you slowly, you slowly, you're not going to get there overnight, and we know that. And they got some good players, and they're recruiting some of the top players in the country. But you know what? Right there in the chest cavity, guys that go out and play with heart and get after it and give you everything they got have a chance as well. So, but you slowly peck at that and try to become the best football team you can.
How would you assess the job Matt Canada's done with your offense so far, particularly with the creativity as the season's gone on?
I give him an A+. Really, when you look at the points we've scored, Matt's done a great job with our guys. I think kids believe in what they're what they're doing. We've scored a lot of points. We haven't had many sacks. I think we've had maybe 5 or 6 sacks on the year. We've turned the ball over, probably compared to the country. I don't know where our giveaways are, but I would say we're in the top 20 as far as giveaways. We're not giving it away now in some critical games we have, and whether it be on special teams or on offense, which Saturday we gave it away twice. But we've protected the football, and that's, if you score a lot of points and you turn it over a lot, that's probably not very good. But, Matt's done a great job.
Going back to July, when you guys found out that you're going to lose some players to career-ending, illnesses and all the injuries you've had, have you ever coached a season like this where things didn't exactly go according to plan with the personnel, the injuries you've had, the guys you've lost?
Yeah. Of course, we've had years like this, and we've had years on deep. We've had teams like this. We've had years like this. We've had defenses like this. You just keep pounding away, and it'll eventually get fixed.
Do you expect more from this defense, though, when the season started?
Yeah, but you never know how it's going to go. I mean, I think offenses are pretty good. I think the ACC conference and the receivers and the skill and the quarterbacks. I mean, you're playing an excellent quarterback every Saturday or Thursday night, whatever it may be. But you obviously always expect better. We still expect better this Saturday. We expect the best this Saturday, and that's how we'll coach them.